Artyom, it's Duke. You're on final approach. There. See that fire at the very top?
Uh-huh.
That's the control post. What used to be anyway. Now it's a shrine, блять. Closer to God at the top, you see?
Блядь.
That's where you have to go. I'll distract the guards now.
No pressure. We just gotta do the whole tugboat thing, but all over again. Quietly, when no one's noticing.
Hey, you ashore! Catch the line!
Ready! Hey, sailor! What did you do to your barge? What you gonna sell now?
Oh, you're so funny! Jackass, блядь.
So, Artyom, shall we move?
Man.
Whoever gets there first
We have
wins.
some drift
Break a
on the
leg.
stern, rip the whole side apart. Head to run the barge ashore.
Holy shit!
Alright, let's go.
Artyom, Duke,
What we gotta
the
do?
Aurora
Get
is
the
quietly
lead for the
moving
time
into
being.
position. We'll be ready to act on your
So,
signal.
brothers, why are we here?
Roger that, sir. We're
Because
on
they
it.
have arrived, just like Father Silantius foretold.
Who arrived?
Father Silantius.
Satan's slaves! It's like you missed the morning sermon.
Well, I didn't.
One day you are going to get sent to fight demons for that.
But it's so early. Just tell me what he said.
All right. A heretic actually arrived right at the sermon. Our guys rushed over to save the Holy Father, and the heretic killed most of them.
What?
They say he wouldn't touch you if you surrendered, though. He also didn't harm the unarmed folk that just happened to be there. He hasn't lost the last of his humanity, that heretic.
I didn't kill anybody.
Mention that Katia and her witch spawn escaped in all the confusion. There's a rumor that people saw her with the heretics.
So you think they might attack?
Who knows? They are heretics.
Yeah, they only have murder on their minds, those heathens.
If only they would calm down a little bit, then maybe we can have a proper talk. We did see a lot of reasonable people around here, but it's that Silantius is making them believe that we're complete heretics. While he knows exactly what's going on with the electricity too, mind you, since they were using generators and all. Okay, I want to open this, but I think that's gonna make a noise. So I'm gonna see if there is another way around it first. Is that off? What the hell? Yeah, remember, we don't have to knock people out. It's not even always safer. Because just like how when we try to get out of the church, if we knock too many people out, then that's more people to be found out. One really bad thing for me right now is that it is morning, so I can't use the shadows that well. Soon it's gonna be completely bright. Two guys over there, we can just... Yeah, like, this is too bright. This is too bright. I want to go here, but I don't want to... Do you think a steel ball would make less noise, or meleeing? Weapon room? I don't like doors like this. We never know what's on the other side.
You see, Simon's back. Back? But he and Kirill vowed to eradicate all the demons. You don't just come back after that. Well, ask anyone. They got captured by heathens, but a heretic, one of the new ones, freed them. Old Simon just got cold feet, that's all. All the stories people tell not to go. No, he did not. He came back and made a huge fuss at the church and got his way too. Now we will be praying for that heretic instead of Simon. You got that? Oh, God. For a heretic? It would please God, though. That Simon. What next?
Then he just made the sign of the cross, kissed the altar, and went back to the demons.
Yes. What about Kirill?
He's the one who's going to be the prey. Father Silantius himself wiped his slate clean.
Oh yes, not everyone is created the same. God save Simon's soul.
I wish it wasn't such
Don't you worry
a
so much.
sin.
Well, I just can't...
Can't even get
The Four Eyes didn't come back, God save his soul. And he didn't even go out to fight a demon.
Well, you know what? Now you don't even know what's worse. It's been a month since anybody returned from a trip to the House of the Fish.
As if people return from demon-killing trips a lot.
It's more like a punishment.
Well, how about I come with you? We'll do it together for sure.
Don't even think about it. I'll handle this myself.
Well, just tell me to change your mind.
All right.
You know, I've been thinking, what do those heretics want here?
They just want to get to the other
Shield us
side.
from
that's
sickness
all.
of the body and strengthen
And what's so
it
nice
as we
over there on
strengthen
the
our
other side?
spirit. And strike down
Hey,
those amongst
brother.
us that you find
Everyone is looking for a better
Bestow a
life.
blessing, long
Which is
life
where?
upon those worthy to serve the true faith.
Where we are not.
Why is that? We are the just ones. We have Father Silantius.
It's not what I meant. Boy, you are dumb.
Well, explain it better. Why is it better where heretics live?
Because there's electricity.
What's the point of explaining it to you? You just stand and look around when the heretics might be here already.
I'm going to ignore that guy.
Everywhere. Look around. Your eyes are young. And shout if you see anything. Got that?
Yes.
The real place is so good where the heretics live. Who likes it there? I don't get it.
Well, maybe you should try living outside here and see what happens. Try using a little bit of electricity, and maybe you'll find that your quality of life goes up. Now, we definitely don't have to go in the middle section there. That's
Shield us from the touch
high danger area.
and the breath of evil. And from
Down
its
there
temptation.
leads to the other side.
And save our souls the way you saved our lives, to serve your will and confirm your power here on earth again, just as you have confirmed it in heaven. And give us strength to triumph over Satan's minions, and punish us should we prove unworthy.
And now the snake has fled with the heretics to do foul magic with their spawn, no doubt.
Sorry to interrupt your praying. I'm sorry about this too. Nope. We actually are on a time limit here. If it gets too bright, it's gonna be really bad for us. Is there a way through? All we gotta do is keep going forward, right? Is there a door there? Or is that just a wall? What about behind me? Nope. Okay.
Fish, protect me from the sin of negligence.
Okay.
Intentional or unintentional.
I'm almost at the goal. Are you almost down there?
I'm okay. I'm okay. It is... Oh,
And the skies rained missiles, and the ground burned to ash, and the seas boiled, and people turned into shadows. But our cloister survived, for the faithful reside here.
And the Lord in his mercy and wisdom has chosen one among them who goes by the name of Silantius. And so speaketh the Lord, I will be with you, and will keep you safe, provided you are true in your devotion, provided you reject satanic technology. We reject!
We reject.
And even more so, do you reject Satan's deception? That thing they call electric current. The cursed gift the enemy gave to the fools, so that they would fancy themselves above reproach, above God, and more powerful than him. We reject! Amen, my children! For the electric current is Satan's temptation and his poison. Only those who reject electricity will be allowed into the kingdom of God. Only those who remain unsullied by its corruption will be let through by the starfish. Glory to the fish! So let us not fear the heretics at our door, the ones who would attack our cloister. Even with their iron steeds standing before us, stinking of machine oil and shining its heretical light upon us, we will not falter. Let us steel ourselves against them, for this is our hour of glory. Amen. Amen.
You know what's insane? Even their lights are made of fire. They don't have flashlights.
For mercy. For we carry out the will of our Lord. And it is his retribution and punishment for their sins that our enemies will receive. And all who stand before our gates shall scatter like dust in the wind. His will be done. His will be done. For he will devour them, body and soul. For one can cleanse himself of gunpowder, but electricity puts an eternal brand upon the sinners. So let us call to the starfish. Come, starfish! And even more so, do you reject Satan's deception? That thing they call electric current. The cursed gift the enemy gave to the fools, so that they would fancy themselves above reproach, above God, and more powerful than him. We reject! We'll never get past the starfish!
Hello, Father?
So you got me, you damned heretics. You took gotcha, and now you have me.
Damn, you are quick, Artyom. Look, we're just passing through. Let us through peacefully, our guys won't shoot. We've been easy on you people the whole time, and Katya asked us to take her along herself. Do you get me?
Sure thing. First you kill off the local cutthroats, and then you switch to us. Will you kill elders and children too? Or have you drunk enough blood already?
You don't want us to kill the local cutthroats? The bandits?
Leave us for good now. God may punish you for your sins, but my responsibility is to tend my flock.
That's a good boy.
Hear me, brothers! Hold your fire! You hear me? I'll excommunicate everyone who shoots!
Well, I did all I could. Just don't shoot. And tell the driver to keep it slow. The bridge is in shambles, so don't stop, or the bridge might collapse. You will have to jump.
Duke here, we've reached an agreement. They will let us through if we don't shoot and move slowly. And don't stop. I repeat, do not stop. Over.
Hear you loud and clear, Duke. We're on. All hands, hold your fire until ordered.
Artyom, let's jump!
Let's go!
Well, that's a job well done, huh?
Scarily well done, I would say. I feel like previously I was binding myself a little bit.
We left Volga behind. The endless expanses of Russia stretched before us now. The bridge dwellers had finally decided to believe that we were not demons and let us pass. Anna was right. We invaded their world, and it's not up to us to destroy it, no matter how stupid it may seem. Electricity is a sin. Is that really worse than the lies we were told in the metro? About how the whole world was dead and there was nowhere to go? Everybody in the tunnels bought that convenient lie. Once we reach Yamantau, we will at least know if that lie was justified. Since so far, we haven't met any signs of enemy occupation.
Spring! The season spring? Huh. I feel like up until now, I was binding myself a little bit with the stealth because I kept thinking, oh yeah, I gotta knock everyone out, I gotta knock everyone out. But a lot of times it's really a lot easier to just go through them. Especially because a lot of the people, they stand next to light. And both going up to them and knocking them out and leaving a body there is just unnecessarily putting yourself at risk. That's a really good point that Artyom is making here though. We make fun of the cult and we think it's stupid, but them believing that electricity is a sin is exactly like how we were lied to. That resolved really peacefully though. I don't know, because I guess if everyone actually just believed that electricity is a sin, then that's dumb, but hey, you can go do whatever you want. But here, Silantius himself knows that electricity is not a sin and he's building all these things and stuff behind everyone's backs just to play God. He's basically using his knowledge of electricity to control people around here. Which is exactly like how the Russian government is telling us that there is a war and that's why you guys all had to stay underground because otherwise all of you could be bombed. But is that gonna be the truth or a lie? Once we reach Yamantau, we will know.
Artyom. Artyom. Wake up, dear.
Oh, fancy train card.
Is he up yet? Artyom, the colonel wants you on the breach. See you later.
Come on, wake up.
Hi, Anna.
You did a great job there. We're not home anymore, so we'd all better act like you did. Smoothly. It's not like there's many of us humans left now. So I hope someday we will be able to trust others just because. Because they are people too. Am I bothering you? Sorry, I'm in a philosophical mood today.
No, you're absolutely right. It's sad that even during an apocalyptic time...
Stay here for a bit, Artyom.
It's sad that we're all still fighting.
This is great. I wish I could stay like this forever. Artyom, when you climbed those ruins back in Moscow, with your radio, did you imagine our life on the surface at all? A home, for one. A place where we could live. A log cabin on the outskirts of a forest. Or how about a bungalow on an ocean shore? Oh, you know, there's something great in simply going anywhere like this. Together. Through the abandoned stations, the ruins, the wasteland. Especially in our own private compartment. Thinking back, isn't this our honeymoon trip? It certainly feels like one, even though it's a bit late. We've only had some honeymoon sorties at best so far.
To the nearest station.
You know, I had a talk with Katya. I'm sitting here recalling that bridge and those people there, and we've been sitting underground for 20 years, and they haven't. So what? These are not the same people who used to build cities, planes, and space rockets. They're just like us in Metro, only even more dejected. They are essentially slaves. For real. They work all day and pray all night. Always watched, always directed. Everything is under control. Everything is decided by the community. Well, I mean, Silantius. They don't even have any property. Even their socks belong to the community. They're just entranced with him, with these ridiculous lies about electricity. Of course, not everyone got fooled easily, but if they dare ask questions, they get penance, exorcising an electric demon with prayer and the cross. But that's a death sentence. How is a flashlight dangerous? Or a radio? But no, they shun it all. They hide and keep praying. How can you even make people believe this ridiculous garbage within just a few years? People in general start believing lies surprisingly easily, don't they? As long as those lies are convenient or at least familiar. Take us in Metro. All right, we haven't met the occupying forces yet. If we disregard that shirt I found on an antenna, Katya and Crest, never met them either. But maybe they are still out there somewhere. And if they are, then they didn't even tell us about them back home. They didn't tell us that the war was still on. They just made us believe that there's no life anywhere outside of Metro. They've been lying to us. Lying non-stop. All this time. Were their intentions good? Perhaps. But the Metro is a castle built on lies. Damn, am I angry. And so far, no matter how far we get, we haven't met a single enemy. Isn't that strange? But Father won't have a word of it. Stay vigilant, be careful, the enemy never sleeps. You know, I love my father. A whole lot, no matter what. But what if everything he's been told is just another layer of lies? I hope we'll find out how deep this rabbit hole is once we get to Yamantau. Well, what do you know? I do feel better now after telling you. Thanks for hearing me out, Artyom. Let's just sit here a little.
I'm glad to hear that. People do believe lies.
All right, run along. Dad wanted something.
People do believe lies when they're convenient or familiar. Because not believing in the lies, if you kind of have an inkling of the truth, maybe it's because you realize that the truth is really, really uncomfortable. Anna is saying so much about how she hates being lied to in the Metro, but then we just left everyone in Silantius' cult back in Volga. I'm not sure what to think about that. It was kind of weird that we didn't see a single enemy soldier in Volga, but it was one contained area, right? So okay, fine. But if we go to the next area and there still isn't any enemies, then I think we should seriously start questioning things around here. And maybe in some way, Miller doesn't believe in any of this either, because Miller believes in the whole story about the war existing, because he doesn't want to think about why he would be lied to otherwise too. 1980? Wow, our cart is really nice. Oh, boy, is that the diary? Oh, it's been a long time since I've seen you. Wanna put on some music?
Kenel, come in. Do you read me, Kenel? Warhol here. I'm in Gemete. Over. Kenel, come in. Kenel, over. That's just great.
We've heard about people from the south, and there's a place called Astrakhan.
Why are you guys kissing Menchikov's ass so much? How long has it been since he even arrived in Irkutsk? Not even 2 years.
You'd better reconsider your position on Meshnikov. Did you forget who started trading with the convicts from Zolotoy? Huh?
Well, that was Zakhar's idea. And Zakhar is the man. He crossed Baikal. Alone. We'd sign him to anything he proposes at once. While Menshikov, I couldn't care less about.
Aren't you getting too big in your head? You're so cool now that the relay gang is off your case? Don't fall off that high horse.
Go to hell, Dan. Alright. I can live with listening to Menshikov if you're so fond of him.
Enough of that shit already. The important part is that Irkut is still around, and you guys are too.
You're right. That is the important part. Well, give my regards to Menshikov. Over and out.
You devil. Over and out.
Oh, the world is so big outside of the metro. There's people everywhere. I wonder how the metro is doing right now. Because the jammer broke. So I feel like they should be catching wind of what's going on too. Yeah? Okay. I think there's gonna be quite a bit to read, but it doesn't seem like we get to access the diary too often. So let's try to read more things. This is just the introduction screen. Yeah, this is basically just what happened, really. We'll read this if we have time later on, but right now, I think I want to focus on reading about people. This is a really important one. Anna. Do they update, by the way? Yeah, they do. Hold on. Oh, the text is a little bit strange here. It's kind of hard to read. This is talking about me always going to the surface and Anna being worried for me. If that isn't love, then what is? Anna, you wanted to believe me, and you couldn't. You tried to not pay attention to your father, and you did. The colonel firmly believes that our country is occupied, and that the war is still going on, and that makes us jumpy. Makes us expect an attack at every turn, makes us look for traces of enemy presence everywhere. He has us riled up, and Anna is not immune to that. She was so eager to find the occupying forces in that tiny abandoned village near the bridge over Volga that she saw an American banner in a mere old t-shirt. Same mistake I made. She went to investigate and fell through the roof of an old chemical storage silo. Luckily, the chemicals seemed to have been long since expired, and Anna got away with just a few bruises. Needless to say, there was not a trace of foreign troops' presence anywhere close. Feel like there's an overwhelming chance that there's actually not a war going on. Miller. Colonel... No, we've read this. I remember that. Nope. This one didn't update. Demir. Okay. I remember I wanted to read Sam. Yeah, we gotta read everything because we don't get to see this too often. Demir. Demir is probably the calmest of all the crew members. Demir is also extremely reliable. He'll always be there to help. He always does the hardest part of any job, goes on to the toughest missions. And then, instead of taking the well-earned respect and gratitude as one would expect, he starts blushing and says he had nothing to do with his success, and that it all just kind of happened that way. There was only one painful issue for Demir, and that's his name. Name given to him by his father, along with half of his blood. Demir can't forgive his father for leaving, going as far as to deny being his bloodkin. Is Demir... I'm not sure of the origins of this name, but Demir looks not Russian. Maybe he's half. Duke. Whoa, this is such a handsome sketch. Duke of Darkness, Igor Dukov, the youngest, the bravest, and the craziest of us. Some join the order out of desperation, others to protect people from dangers, but Duke is just desperately in love with adventure whenever the colonel asks for volunteers. Duke is always first to shout me, no matter how hard or dangerous the mission ahead may be. A shame we don't have any medals in the order, otherwise Duke would have been plastered with them. He keeps looking up to the more experienced fighters, competing with them for the most kills, competing with me to see who gets there fastest. Oh, most kills, missions, and wounds. For some reason, he pays particular attention to comparing his achievements with mine. Perhaps it's because I'm closest to his age. Anna once said about him, "Quit your whining, Artyom. There are people here who dream of becoming like you." About Duke. Was she right? I wonder if these are straight translated from Russian. It reads a little bit weirdly in English, which is something that I feel about most of the dialogue in this game as well. It's a little bit distracting because I feel like a lot of the dialogue and the notes, because they're written weirdly, it takes a bit of time to digest. Igor likes being called the Duke of Darkness, but you can hardly find a lighter-hearted guy. He is but a brat taking crazy risks all the time, but Lady Luck smiles at the brave. If not for the trick he played on Silantius, that old obscurant, our whole operation could have failed. Duke, my friend, your star is undoubtedly on the rise, and soon you will outshine us all. We be of one blood, ye and I'm proud of it. Trick? Yermak. The Aurora's permanent helmsman, Yermak knows her every detail, down to the smallest bolt, and feels every change in the work of any of her numerous, and, truth be told, quite worn out, mechanisms with his heart. Yermak fit into our group so easily, and naturally, it seems he was with us since forever. And yet, Anna and I met him on a Hanzig base, where Yermak first helped me find my wife, and then lead us in the hijacking of our beloved cruiser. Still, with Yermak's background, it's a small wonder he decided to leave Moscow with us. At the time of our leaving, we had only just learned of Hansa executing everyone, trying to enter or leave Moscow, but Yermak had been living with this terrible knowledge for months. First out of fear for his daughter's life, then, after she succumbed to her illness, out of sheer hopelessness. But now he is free, just like the rest of us, and if we ever come back to Moscow, we'll settle our scores with Hanzig leadership together. Yermak says that every man has a destination in life, a place where the fate leads him to, and whenever life becomes hard, sometimes unbearably so. I always recall his words, this might be the end of the line, but it is still not your destination. Get up, walk on. Thank you, Yermak. It sounds like you're writing obituaries for everybody. Idiot. Idiot chose his nickname out of natural humility, or perhaps simply in honor of one of Dostoevsky's characters. In fact, he's anything but, being the most educated and well-read soldier in the order, lining the position of Miller's right-hand man back in the metro. The question is, what does he really know about the reasons for people being held in the tunnels, the war that could still be going on, as well as who is really in control of the metro? Idiot likes talking a lot, but he never actually says much, even if you push him. Savor his usual, on one hand, this could be true, while on the other, if you feel that the truth is close enough to touch, talk to Idiot. He'll confuse you completely in no time. One thing about him that I don't understand at all is what could he even be looking for fighting in the Order's ranks? Yeah, like, this is clunky to read. Alyosha. Whoa, sunglasses guy. We should be trying to recognize people's faces too. Idiot. Alyosha. Who just left my room? Alyosha, the life of every party, an avid lady killer, favorite customer of the seediest joints of Zvetnoy, Bolvar, and our survival on the surface instructor. After only a cursory glance, he can correctly tell if an abandoned building can last for years or is ready to collapse onto your head at the lightest touch. Which ability saved him back in Moscow more than once. Alyosha is the only member of our crew seemingly taking our journey for an exciting adventure, probably in anticipation of new meetings with representatives of the fair sex, of course. Sam. This one's a long one, oh my god. Sam is one of the Order's best. He might not be the strongest, fastest, or the best marksman we have, but he can certainly hold his own in a match with Spartan champions in each of these areas, and he definitely is the most unusual of us. Sam is an American, a Marine from the US Embassy's guard detail, who just happened to be in the metro when the Judgment Day came, eventually ending up as Colonel Miller's personal bodyguard. Sam had to sit the battle for D6 out on the account of staying in a hospital with a serious wound, and was really hard on himself for not being there to protect the Colonel when he was needed the most. As soon as he was back on his feet, still all bandaged, Sam would refuse to leave the Colonel's side no matter what. He wouldn't even let anybody push Miller's wheelchair, even when Andrew the blacksmith made the amazing prosthetics the Colonel has been wearing ever since. Sam remained Miller's shadow, and of course, joined us aboard the Aurora. Hey, I remember the blacksmith. He helped hide us before. All of us, the crew members, are going somewhere, to some kind of destination, as Yermak puts it, even though none of us know where that destination would be. Sam, though, seems to know the place. If the world outside the metro is not wiped out, there must be survivors in the US, and Sam can't stop thinking about his parents, who might still be alive, waiting for their son. I wonder if he feels he's traveling in the right direction with us. While we were waiting for the Aurora's repairs to be completed, thinking on how to cross the river, Sam, in light of our constant mentions of occupying forces, hypnotized himself into believing that the Colonel didn't trust him. It must be heartbreaking to have served a commander for 20 years with unquestioning loyalty, only to be considered a traitor. But it must be equally heartbreaking to have become so close to your old enemy, only to learn that your country might still be there after all. And if the war is still going on, whose side are you on, Sam? Who are you? That is difficult. If his parents really are alive in the States, and he's serving under Miller for 20 years, that's a huge conflict of interest. Speaking of the clunky dialogue, I suddenly remembered how back when we were rescuing Artyom in the base, there was a line talking about how Sam is speaking Russian all this time, and his English might be bad. And they didn't bother localizing that line in English at all, they just translated it from the Russian version, which, well, frankly made no sense in English. So I kind of wish they would put a little bit more effort into things like that. Stepan, Tokarev, Katya, Nastya. Crest. That's it. Okay. Stepan, who we gave the guitar to, he's got some music here. In day-to-day life, Stepan is so calm and nice, it's hard to believe he's a member of the Order. We are a military organization after all. Once you see this giant in battle though, you immediately see the reason for him being there. Stepan is completely fearless and amazingly strong. He handles a heavy machine gun as if it were a regular assault rifle. We're lucky to be on Stepan's side. Having him as an enemy would be a disaster. Right until meeting Katya, Stepan has never defied the Colonel. But when Miller didn't want to let the woman and her daughter board the Aurora, he started on a real quarrel. The Colonel was noticeably thrown off, while the rest of us immediately understood what was going on. Still, as any good commander, Miller quickly saw through Stepan and let himself being talked into letting Katya and Nastya aboard. With this addition, Stepan was sure to never leave the crew. Yeah, there's definitely something going on there. I thought Katya's husband died really recently, but it must have been a while ago. Tokarev. Partial to the creations of the famous gun designer he shares a family name with, is a man in love with his craft. He is constantly busy with the crew's weapons, repairing and maintaining them, and making improvements. Tokarev knows everything there is to know about weapons, and even more, and can talk about them for hours, but is not really interested in much else. Still, he doesn't just care for our firepower, but also works on our gear, constantly adjusting and inventing new things, laboring day and night to make sure we all perform to the best of our ability, without being hindered by inferior equipment. What would we do without him? On a side note, he seems to be quietly and hopelessly unrequitedly in love with my Anna. He's always worried about her, thinking of her, talking about her, but I can't even bring myself to feel jealous. Anna is a single woman among a whole bunch of men, so I'm not really surprised. Katya and Nastya, and obviously these two don't count. I can't really imagine what Katya and Nastya had been through, and how they managed to keep their sanity, much less remain as optimistic as they are. A little girl and a tender woman proved to be tougher than fate, taking all the blows they could throw at them squarely, and those blows were many and mighty. They had arrived at Volga with a group of migrants who were out on a quest for a better life. That quest ended with them finding a new faith, and their death along with it. Of course, Silantius didn't kill anyone himself. He didn't even order anyone killed. Still, his holy ritual, where an initiate must dispose of an electric anomaly to be accepted into the fold. How is it different from a murder in cold blood? It's no wonder that the Colonel let Stepan and Anna coax him into letting Katya and Nastya aboard the Aurora, even though there must be numerous dangers waiting for us. Still, I would argue that these ladies are tougher than some battle-hardened troopers. Besides, Katya is a trained nurse, and we will most probably need all the medical expertise we can get. Definitely, we don't have a single person here. Nothing about Nastya. Crest, or as I suspect, Pavel. An avid storyteller, a talented mechanic, and a natural-born adventurer who traveled all across the vast expanses of this threatening world of the surface, so alien to us, who've been through hundreds of scuffles and struck thousands of deals, quite a few of which could well be of the less scrupulous sort. I don't know if Crest will be journeying with us for long, but I am not surprised he had such an easy time fitting in. Right from the start, he gave us a hand with fixing the Aurora, gave us a railcar he'd been using in his adventures, and then went with us on a mission to capture the tugboat, giving Duke and me the cover we needed to infiltrate the bridge. It's no wonder that even our usually cautious Colonel had no second thoughts about welcoming Crest into the crew. Well, just like Anna says, it would be nice if we can just trust people because we can. New World. Bandits, Fanatics, Exhibition, Hansa. Exhibition is the station that Artyom was Not born at, but he was living there since he was young. Bandits. With no state and its laws, with no pockets of civilization which the new civic society could crystallize around, with no hope of ever going back to normal life, should one be surprised with the rise of anarchy and its consequences? Bandits constructing their rudimentary societies around the basest aspects of the human nature? Even in the tunnels of Moscow Metro, where every meter has been divided between the quasi-states, attempting to uphold some semblance of order on their turf, the gangs flourish. What could one expect from the world of surface, where there is simply nobody and nothing to stand up to them? Well, you make it sound like they're all bad, but sometimes they just want to live. Everyone's just trying to survive here, you know? In some ways, the bandits are like people who don't want to follow Silantius. And if you look at it like that, maybe not all of them are that bad. Now, obviously the ones kidnapping and torturing people are bad, but maybe there's some nicer, more neutral people out there. On the banks of Volga, there seem to be a great many bandit gangs. They have somehow agreed on the division of spheres, or spheres of influence, and are more or less happily coexisting, robbing the few remaining, or newly founded in the less polluted regions, peaceful survivor settlements, and selling their denizens as slaves on the markets of the south. Slaves? Wow, southern markets again. Fanatics? The worship of a giant mutant catfish, intense hatred towards the technology, and outsiders coupled with intense suppression of all individuality and independent thought within the community. What else could one reasonably expect from a mix of a primitive mysticism with classic religion, seeped with good old founders' cult of personality? I must give the fanatics their dues though. By banding together, they managed to survive in this wild world, settling a bridge and turning it into a veritable fortress, which we had no choice but to take seriously. Their best fighters, the lightning fighters, can fight back against the electric anomalies, and even gangs of bandits, compensating for their lack in training by strong motivation, rooted in their fanaticism. More like brainwashing. Exhibition. My home station, now a part of VDNKH. There's no vowels. How do you pronounce that? Commonwealth, together with Alexievskaya and Rizskaya. Living there has been an uneven ride, but I still have fond memories of the time, even though Anna, my wife, would disagree. She positively hated it there, having traded the position of the Order's best sniper for everyday chores of a regular mushroom farmer. Is that what we were doing there? Mushroom farming? Hansa, the most powerful faction of the Metro, the commonwealth of the stations of the Ring Line. The soldiers in Hansa's employ enjoy the best pay and equipment, and thus are highly motivated to train and perform their duties exceptionally well, making up in proficiency and skill for what they may lack in numbers. The only force to be objectively better than Hansic troops in terms of professionalism and training is the Spartan Order, which yours truly is honored to be a member of. As far as I was able to surmise from the Colonel's reluctant confession, Hansa is the vehicle of the Invisible Watchers, the real government of Moscow controlling all the factions from the shadows. They clearly have too much power to just live and let live, and thus engaged in some shady business, including the SHIELD project, designed to keep Moscow under an impenetrable blanket of radio jamming to prevent further nuclear strikes against the capital, is what they say. The project itself would have been a benevolent initiative, even if quite misguided, had it not been connected with mass murder of people coming into or trying to leave Moscow, as well as anyone and everyone learning anything about it. Anna and I were captured by their patrol after we saw the Aurora entering the city perimeter, and just for that terrible crime, I was put to the gun. Anna's agony at the moment is something I will not forgive them, for as long as I live. The Hansa seem to know a lot more than our side. There's probably more information we could have gone about them, from them, but nobody from the Hansa's outside. Okay, how about we walk around a little bit and we'll keep reading the rest? Yeah?
How long have we been on the road for? I've been listening to the radio too. And there was not a single transmission about any occupying force. There's so much regular chatter. So many stories. Dad says all those are coded transmissions, that they all have hidden meaning, but why would they be so secretive? Why aren't they using this railroad? Why don't they at least control its key junctions? Why did they not install any roadblocks? If they are even out here. This is the main transport artery, after all. Maybe they are not here at all. Maybe they never came here, or they are already gone. Though, where to? Remember? Neither Katya nor Crest have ever met them. Though we seem to be doing just fine even without them. It's like Middle Ages. That Silantius is treating people like slaves, getting them killed. I can't believe they had it worse without his lies, nonsense, and human sacrifices. And us? We had been living down there for so many years, fighting each other. And nobody even thought you could live outside.
Your dad? I have some serious doubts about anything and everything we've been told. I don't know if Miller's willingly believing this or what.
Uncle Artyom, Uncle Tokarev has already set his shop up. Wanna go look? It's so cool.
Okay.
Here, Uncle Artyom.
Ah, hi, Artyom. See my new place? Fit for a king, I must say.
Wow.
What do you think of this workbench, eh? Everything is within reach, yet there's so much space left. Most of the stuff you and the guys found outside and gave to me went into making this workshop happen. So thank you. We'll have to keep pitching in like this too. Looks like we're facing a long journey, and useful things like ammo or equipment don't grow on trees. Plus, the further from Moscow we get, the harder they'll probably be to get. So don't forget to collect all the materials you find to keep us going. There's so many things to do. I haven't decided where I'm going to work on the suits, but I'll have to, and soon. But it's high time we fixed our uniforms. Some of our people are starting to look pretty ragged, you know. Duke's plate carrier won't hold the back plate anymore, and he jokes that he's lucky it's not the front one, or else his toes would be in danger. Regardless, I am turning this little gang back into a real army. Well, that's it. I bragged enough and won't waste any more of your time. The Colonel summoned you. Well, I have stuff to do too. You guys are fast to break gear, but none too expedient to fix it.
Gonna let the kid next to a weapon?
Uncle Tokarev!
What would you like to ask, Nastya?
Uncle Tokarev, do you have a sewing machine?
No, I don't.
But how are you going to fix the suits then?
Well, like everyone else, I take a thread and a needle, and I use a sail stitch.
Wow, cool! Can you teach me?
I sure can, but later. I've got work to do.
Will you let me fix Sam's rifle strap?
Well, sure thing.
Really?
Oh, but under supervision. Sam is so strict, you know.
Hurrah! And Uncle Sam isn't strict at all. He's kind.
Haha. All right, look here. I'll show you once. Now we do this.
Sewing is okay.
I see.
You're letting a kid next to the weapon.
Don't rush it here.
Yes.
Yes, and now, this way.
Got that.
Don't rush it here.
I see.
Well, you go on with your sewing lessons then. Nasha's a little kid by herself too, surrounded by all these men and just her mom. I wish we had some kids around here. Nasha's letter. Dear Daddy, I write this so you know where to look for Mommy and me when you come back. Because Mommy and I wanted to stay, but Silantius says we must go to the tower and leave this car, and I don't want to. I wanted to wait for you in the car, but Mommy said I can't. And Silantius said you won't come back because you failed the test of faith. He is a stupid liar, because you never needed any tests, as their faith is dumb. I remember you said so. Mommy said nothing, but I know she is waiting for you too. So please come back soon, and take us away from these fools. I love you very much. Nastya. Oh. Father ain't coming back. I don't think Nastya and Katya should travel with us forever. Maybe they'll find a nice place and settle down. Maybe even with Stepan.